So yeah, so the way they award it is supposed to be the most highest, most responsible bidder. But common sense would tell you if somebody who's made $0 on surfboards in the history of their business, 0 surfing lessons, 0 canoe rides, never had an umbrella, they have 0 experience. And somebody bids 1%, 2% less, and that's all they've ever done in the history of their business is exactly what you're asking for. That's who should have won the bid. You know what I mean? Even though it was 1%, 2% lower. That's, to me, that's what the word responsible means. You know what I mean? But the city they just take the highest bid, you know, regardless of business experience, history of the business, anything. And the city's interpretation or what the city thought was going to happen was that when the new guys took over, all the Beach Boys were just going to go work for them because the Beach Boys basically had no choice. You know what I mean? That's the only one you can work for is the guy who's there. So the new company, Dive Oahu, they first thing they did was double the price of the surfing lessons and reduce the payout to the instructor by like 70%. So the Beach Boys said, we ain't gonna work for this guy. You know, first of all, he don't know what he's doing. They're doubling the price and they're giving us less pay. So the Beach Boys refused to work for him. And that whole plan that the city thought was gonna happen backfired. And here we are now, what is this, 5 months later, and it's the same thing. No Beach Boys are working for them. They got a couple of surf instructors without, you know what I mean? That's remember I was telling you the difference, right? But the plan has totally backfired on the city. And I know the mayor was on the news a couple months ago about somebody asked the question, when is he going to take Dive Oahu off the beach and give it back to the Beach Boys? And he admitted on the news that the city did make a mistake by awarding them the concession, and they should not have qualified them. So the city, I think now is in the process of, with the Corp Council, is drawing up something to remove them, to get them off. That's what I think is going to happen soon.
I was just going to ask you that too, like, I was just going to ask you, like, when he went on the news saying that.
Oh, you saw that, huh?
Yeah. Like, have they been in contact with you?
Yeah, so they're in contact with me because I'm calling them freaking like crazy. So, they respond every so often saying that the Corp Council is working on it and they're going to be sending letters to them and they're going to try to negotiate for him to give up one stand. But we'll see how that goes. I mean, there is a clause in the contract with the city that they can terminate for convenience. You don't even need a reason, but they have all the reasons to terminate the contract. So that's always in their back pocket, you know. The problem is the city just has to admit that they did it wrong. I guess that's a hard thing for them to do.
Do you kind of know, did the city ever give like an explanation of why they changed so much with the crossfire?
I'm gonna fix the wires with this one, yeah.
Oh, what? Something came off.
Huh? No, I just don't want to see it in the shot.
I'm over here playing with them.
Yeah. Just gonna hide it behind you. Okay. Cool. Okay.
Good.
Yeah, so they like never gave
No,
a reason?
their explanation was they qualified them to bid, so that they bid. They don't tell you who was on the qualifying committee or why. They qualified them to bid, and they know they screwed up. You know what I mean? There's nothing to admit. They screwed up. The mayor answered it pretty well on the news that day. That in hindsight, and he was unaware of the situation the whole time. It was Department of Enterprise Services was just kind of going rogue on this thing, doing their own thing and hiding things from the mayor. And once he found out, he kind of raised hell with them. And the Department of Enterprise Services since has been trying to get these guys in compliance. Trying to get them in compliance because they've been out of compliance the whole time. I mean, even if you go down there now, you ask them for a canoe ride, you can't have one. They got no captain to take the canoe out. You know what I mean? Yep.
the future hold for you guys? Like, how has